This is your Thomas. Today we are going to see about 12th standard first lesson, reproduction in organisms. What is a reproductions? Reproduction is nothing but it is the fundamental features of all the organisms. I think you are already known about the reproductions. So what does the Darwin said mean? It is an inner desire of all the organisms. So here some of the points are mentioned in our books. Reproductions, it is a fundamental features of all the organisms. And then we know that basically the reproduction is biological process. It is the part of life. Every organisms, they are young ones and matured and reproduce, and then they are produce the young ones. So young ones continuously it is doing the same process. So reproduction, it is the part of life. So why it is necessary for the organism means, through the reproductions it is going to show the variations. Variation, it is the essential for all the organisms. Why it is necessary? Why it is essential? Reproductions. So by this way, it is going to adapt themselves. Adaptation is must for all the organisms because of it is going to occupy in that different habitat, so that it is needed for the adaptative characters, so that it is involved in the reproductions. Followed by it is going to produce that evolutionary sequence. Evolution, it is the process. From that simple organism to multicellular organisms, it is going to develop. So during the development process, it is going to show the different kinds of characters. It is going to produce that enormous amount of characters, as well as it is going to develop the morphological structures. So reproduction is must for all the organisms. It is going to produce the young ones. Through that way, it is going to elaborate the species count. So in this class, we are going to discuss about the mode of reproductions, sexual reproductions and asexual reproductions. So first thing is mode of reproductions. So all the organisms follow some basic features of mode of reproductions. What are the basic mode? The first thing is synthesis of RNA and protein. This is essential for all the lower organisms. Followed by, if you are taking the DNA dependent means, it is going to replicate the DNA. Followed by cell division and then growth. And then formation of reproductive unit and their fertilization. Let's recall that mode of reproductions. Synthesis of RNA and protein. We know that. So during the cell division times or during the reproduction times, it is going to synthesize the RNA, ribonucleic acid. It is going to develop. So through that way, it is going to synthesize the protein. So what is the protein is necessary in the reproductions mean? It is involved in the variation process. You know that it plays a very important role in the evolutions. Followed by replication of DNA. Replication of DNA is, it is going to produce the copy of DNA sequence, followed by cell division as well as the growth. So when the growth is going to mature or when the growth is completed, it is going to develop the reproductive unit, followed by it is involved in the fertilization process. So this is the first 2 mark question. Note it down. It is the first 2 mark questions. Let's move on to the next topic, types of reproductions. So basically, the reproductions happens in the two modes. One is the asexual, another one is the sexual methods. So what is the asexual method? The asexual method basically happens in the body cells. This is the very important part. It is a very important in the differentiation process. What is the sexual and the asexual reproductions? So first thing is asexual reproductions. In the asexual reproductions, a single parent are participated. So in the single parent, without gamete formation, it is going to produce the young ones. That is called as asexual reproductions. So young ones are genetically identical to the parent. They are very similar, closely similar to the parent, that are genetically identical. So this asexual reproductions are done by two methods. One is amitotic or mitotic method. So in the earlier class we have learned that what is a mitotic and then amitotic. Followed by this asexual reproductions happens in the body cells, so that it is called as somatogenic reproduction or blastogenic reproductions. Somato is indicate the body cells, so that it is called as somatogenic or blastogenic reproductions. Followed by sexual reproductions. In the sexual reproductions, two parents are participated. Both the parent, male and female parent are participated in the sexual reproductions. They are produce the gametes. Male are produce the sperm and female are produce the ovum. So by the way, it is going to reproduce the organisms. So the organisms must show the variations. That is the major difference between the asexual reproduction and then sexual reproductions. So that are genetically different from the parental organisms, because of both the parent contribute the genetic material. So asexual reproduction, single parent are participated, but sexual reproduction, two parents are participated. They will ask the question, what is the difference between asexual reproduction and then sexual reproduction? So again, second two more questions. So they will ask the question, what is the difference between asexual and then sexual reproductions? Simply we are going to write the answer. In the asexual reproduction, single parent are participated, but sexual reproduction, two parents are participated. In the asexual reproductions, there is no gamete formation, but here the two gametes are formed from the male as well as the female parent. So formation of gamete. And then in the asexual reproductions, genetically similar to the parent, because of it has happened in the body cells. That's why. But here, definitely, it is going to differ from the parent, because of the two parent contribute the genetic material. So it is not genetically similar. And then amitotic or mitotic divisions happens in the sexual reproduction, but in the asexual reproduction. But in the sexual reproductions, mitotic and meiotic divisions happens in the sexual reproductions. It happens in the body cells, but here in the sexual reproductions, it has happened in the reproductive cells. So let's recount the video from the introduction onwards. Reproductions, it is a fundamental features, it is a biological features, it is show the variation essential for adaptation and then evolutions. Then what is the mode of reproduction? Two more question. Synthesis of RNA and protein. Second, replication of DNA. Third, cell division and growth. Fourth one is formation of reproductive unit and their fertilization. What are the types of reproduction? One is the asexual, another one is the sexual. Let's recall that. What is the asexual reproductions? Single parent participated without gamete formation, genetically identical. It is happens through the amitotic and mitotic division. Followed by it has happened in the body cells, so that it is called a somatogenic reproduction or blastogenic reproductions. They will ask the questions, what is the somatogenic or blastogenic reproductions? And the last thing is sexual reproductions. Two parents are participated. Here formation of gametes we are observed. I mean from the male they are produced the sperm, as well as the female it is produced the ovum. So I hope you all will understand that. If you have any doubt, you will ask through the WhatsApp number. Thank you.
Hi, again your Thomas. So in this video we are going to discuss about asexual reproductions. So asexual reproductions, it happens in all the organisms. It is widely spreaded in the different organisms. For example, it happens in the protista, bacteria, archaea, simple multicellular organisms. So that offsprings shows the uniparental inheritance. Uniparental means single parent inheritance. That characters, I mean either RNA or DNA, it is transfer from the single parent to the offsprings. That's why it is called as uniparental inheritance. One more questions. So here we are observed that without any gamete variations, because of it is a asexual reproductions. So the asexual reproductions, it shows that different modes. One is a fission, second one is sporulation, third one is a budding, fourth one is gemule formation, fifth one is fragmentation, and last one is regenerations. Let's discuss one by one. The first one is fission. In these types, the division of parent body into two or more than two identical offsprings are produced. So, that depending upon that fission, it is going to divided into four types. One is a binary fission, second one is multiple fission, third one is sporulation, fourth one is stabilizations. Again, we are going to discuss about the binary fission. In the binary fission, the parent body divided into two halves. So, each halves, it is going to form a new daughter individuals. Actually, during the division times, it is follow the two steps. One is the karyokinesis, second one is cytokinesis. In the karyokinesis, it is the first steps. The division takes place in the nucleus. That's why it is called as karyokinesis. Karyo, it means by nucleus. So the first division takes place in the nucleus by amitotically or mitotically. And then followed by the second step is cytokinesis. So what is the result? Finally, we are obtaining the offsprings. So that offsprings are genetically similar to the parent body. So the binary fissions, it is going to divided into four categories depending upon the plan of division. So how that the division takes place in the organisms, depending upon that it is going to divided into four categories. The first one is simple irregular binary fission. It is the simple. Irregular means we cannot observe the plan. So it takes place in the different way. So that's why the simple irregular binary fission. Example, amoeba. Amoeba is irregular body shape. That's why it takes place. That's why the plan of division is irregular. Second thing is transverse binary fission. Third one is longitudinal binary fission, and the fourth one is oblique binary fission. So in this categories, the first thing is simple binary fission. Example is amoeba. One more question. So the plan of division, it is hard to observe in the amoeba because of amoeba is irregular one. So irregular body is there. That's why the plan is very hard to observe. Followed by what are the changes are happens in the simple binary fission or simple irregular binary fission mean? First thing is the contractile vacuole cease their function or stop their function and then it is going to disappear. Followed by the second step is nucleoli, it is going to disintegrated, and then nucleus divides by mitotically, and then the cell is going to constrict in the middle, so that cytoplasm is going to divided into forming two daughter individuals. The daughter individuals is going to observe that identically similar to the parent. So please going to observe the figure 1.1. The second type of binary fission is transverse binary fission. So in this types, the plan is going to run along the transverse axis of organisms. Example is Paramecium and Planaria. One more questions. Followed by, let me discuss that one of the example Paramecium. In the Parameciums, certain changes are happens in the transverse binary fission. So it is contained the two kinds of nucleus. One is a macronucleus, another one is micronucleus. Others are going to disappear. So in the macronucleus, it is going to divided by amitotic division, and then micronucleus is going to divided by mitosis divisions. Followed by the third major type is longitudinal binary fission. In the longitudinal binary fissions, it is run along the longitudinal axis of the organisms. So here nucleus and the cytoplasms is going to divide in the longitudinal axis. Example, flagellates. In the flagellums is retained usually by one daughter individuals. So remaining another one, it is going to newly produce the flagellums. Actually, the flagellum is regulated by basal granule. It is presented at the base of flagellums. So the basal granule is going to divided into two halves. So the two halves, the first one is, the old one is retained in the old individuals. The new one, new basal granules form a new flagellum in the new individuals. Example, Verticella and Euglena. And then the last type is oblique binary fission. So here the oblique binary fissions, the division is in the oblique manner. Example is Serratiums.
So I hope you all will understand that. If you have any doubt, you will ask through the WhatsApp number. Thank you.